So here's an interesting question from a viewer. Can you shoot someone if they punch you in the face in a stand your ground state? Here to help us answer this question is top criminal defense attorney Tom Grieve. Tom, thank you again for being here. Yes, we have a gun giveaway going on. It's happening right now. It is absolutely free and it ends really soon. So click the link in the description down below to reveal which brand new gun you could win. All right, Tom will work from the Wisconsin example. We're not a stand your ground law state, but someone punches you in the face, can you shoot them?
I can't say depends or maybe.
Well, you can. I mean, people
Great.
love
It depends. It depends, right? And I'll click like
Okay.
for my own YouTube account and everybody who comments on that,
Yeah.
all right? It depends. And here's why. Yes, if you can articulate why you were in reasonable fear of imminent death or great bodily harm. That's the Wisconsin self-defense law. Mm-hmm. More generally, at a lower resolution, yeah, if you can explain why that punch, and I don't mean in some sort of contrived way, if you can actually prove it to a jury, conceivably, why that punch constituted a deadly threat, then yes, then your action could have been reasonable. If you can't, that's a homicide.
Yeah, and I love the fact that you used the word reasonable. You threw that out there. That's what we're looking at is in the use of force has to be objectively reasonable, and that's kind of a different standard. I mean, the reasonable person standard. What would a reasonable person do in a situation like this? And maybe let's talk to the viewers a little bit too about you may use force to stop an illegal interference, but deadly force you can only use to stop an imminent deadly threat. Let's make sure that everyone knows about the difference between those two.
Yeah, so just using Wisconsin law, which to my knowledge is, reasonably vanilla on this subject, but of course, please, you have to check your local listings, uscca.com/laws to find out the laws in your state. Yeah. That being said, you can use non-deadly force to stop a non-deadly threat who is either interfering with you or your property. Mm-hmm. It has to be reasonable, and it cannot be deadly. You can only use deadly force if you're reasonably in fear of imminent death or great bodily harm. Okay, does that mean that you can punch someone who's punching you if they punched you first? Yes. Is that necessarily going to be always legal? No. Mm-hmm. If a 12-year-old, or let's go to the extreme, if a 6-year-old gives you a shot to the gut and you as a 6 foot, you're 6'5", I've seen you bench 400 pounds, right?
Yeah, that sounds like
that sounds right? Yeah. And you decide, all right, I'm going to wind up and show this kid a lesson, right? Context says can't do that, right?
Yeah, that's not objectively reasonable.
Exactly, that's reasonable. That R word means everything here because what the prosecutor as well as the judge and the jury are going to be funneling into the R word is all the context, all the totality of the circumstances, size, weight, strength disparity, training disparity. They're going to factor in, oftentimes, depending upon laws in your state, whether it was reasonable for you to consider escape or retreat options. All right. That is basically so this question was a stand your ground question, right? Yeah. If you have a stand your ground statute in place, then perhaps you can eliminate that line of reasoning. If you don't, then I assure you there's a good chance that the prosecutor might be thinking about basically backdooring a duty to retreat law through the reasonable issue of, well, look, it was reasonable to consider the fact that you could run away under the circumstances or whatever the case may be, right? And I'm not supporting or endorsing that. I'm warning you of the fact that there's a lot that can be shoehorned into the word reasonable.
Yeah, and even in a stand your ground state, I'm going to encourage everyone who is watching this to use deadly force only as the last resort, and only if you are convinced that this is rising, and maybe it even hasn't got there yet, but it's rising quickly to an imminent deadly threat or threat of death or great bodily harm, that it's a tough decision to make, and it's under stress, and it has to happen fast, making that decision and deciding to get into action. But if somebody just punches you in the face and you shake it off, you can't just pull out your gun and shoot them.
Right. So yeah, that's a great way to go to prison for the rest of your life.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, there you have it. Thank you once again, Tom, for your great insights. And You know, people can watch you on YouTube as well, on the Tom Grieve YouTube channel. Certainly not as grand and wonderful as the USCCA YouTube
there's
channel.
no comparison.
But you're trying. You're out
I'm
there
trying.
with Tom Grieve.
Doing what I can.
Folks, just look up Tom Grieve on YouTube. He'll be out there doing his own thing, you know. But thank you for being here with us. I appreciate the insight and all the help that you provide for all of our viewers. So thank you, folks, for watching all the way to the end of this video. And I'll remind you again, we have that gun giveaway going on, so click the link in the description to learn more. I'm Kevin Michalowski. If you like guns, freedom, and everything concealed carry, please like this video and subscribe to this channel. We'll see you in the next video. Stay safe.